Hi everyone, today Norway Chess started. In round 1 we already had a big upset. Game Caruana against Carlsen. Let's quickly jump into the game. So Caruana was white, he started with e4, e6, already surprised by Carlsen. I look at his database and he only played 20 games or a little bit more in French defense. d4, d5, knight c3, and here the main moves are bishop to b4, which is so-called win-over variation, but Carlsen opted for knight to f6, which is so-called classical variation. Here the main moves are bishop to g5, which is burn variation, but Fabi played e5 move, which is Steinitz variation. Here knight f to d7 was played, f4, we protect this pawn and also prepare knight to jump to f3, c5, of course black wants to pressure the center of white, knight f3, we develop a piece, knight c6, again black plan is to put pressure on this d4 pawn, bishop to e3, of course white has to protect it, a6, and black is preparing expansion on queen side, and here Fabi surprised Carlsen by playing knight to e2. Here the main move is queen to d2. So knight to e2 was played. Carlsen played queen to b6, attacking this pawn on b2. Of course, white has to protect it by playing queen to c1, bishop e7, c3, further reinforcing this pawn. Castle, g3, and Carlsen goes for f6. He wants to break this pawn chain here in the center. Here Caruana played bishop to g2. Also playable was bishop to h3. We take the pawn, takes, and here for the first time Carlsen took a little more time for this move. Here Carlsen played queen to a5 check, but probably he was checking this line, queen to b4 check, and after bishop to d2, queen to b5 is one variation. So queen to a5, Fabi opted for knight to c3 to block this check. I also found a game with bishop to d2, queen d8, and castle, between Valeo Pons and Danes and Henrik from 2011, but Caruana played knight to c3, knight b6 was played, now we take a pawn on f6, bishop takes, and here very important move by Caruana, this b3, it restricts this knight on b6 very much. Bishop to d7 was played, Fabi now finally castle, on move 17, rook 8 to c8 was played, queen to d2, we have to go out of this pin, of course, bishop to e7, so now Carlsen is rerouting this bishop to better diagonal, knight e2, and now we have exchange of queens, bishop takes, and here Carlsen played slight inaccuracy, according even to Caruana. Caruana said in his post-match interview that he was quite surprised by this rook to c7. He didn't get it. What's the point? Of course, probably the point is to double the rooks, but you will see there's also a slight disadvantage of doing that. Rook 8 to c1 was played. Now Carlsen doubles the rooks, but here Caruana found really nice move, f5. And when Super Grandmaster plays this kind of move, you see that something is wrong if black takes here. So what would happen if black takes on f5, bishop to f4, and this rook is lost. So Carlsen didn't took the pawn on f5 and found the best defending move, bishop to a3. This was very good move by Carlsen. Now rook to e1 was played, bishop b4. Now we have exchange of the bishops. Here in this position, white is still slightly better, but nothing special. Now Caruana took the pawn on e6, bishop takes, and knight are jumping on f4, and as you will see later in the center, bishop f5 was played, knight e5. So these two knights are really starting to annoy black's position. Here Carlsen played g6, but here we have very nice line. You may wonder why not knight to c2, right? We attack this pawn, we attack a rook, but now we can take pawn with the bishop on d5, check, knight takes, and after knight takes, if we take this rook here, now we can take the bishop, and after rook to c1, let's see, because rook was under attack, we can even give a checkmate by knight to e7, king h8, and knight to f7 would be mate. So this line doesn't work for black, and actually Carlsen found the best move, which is g6. But now g4 is also very strong. We pressure this bishop, so bishop goes to e4. Now we take the bishop, pawn takes, and yes, and before we take this pawn, we have to chase away this knight. So a3 was very good move by Caruana. Knight 4 to d5 was played. Here we take the pawn, and here Carlsen played the first mistake, rook to c3. Here he should have just taken this knight, and after rook takes, just knight d5, and position is still kind of equal. Okay, white is slightly better after rook to f7, but yeah, it could be defendable, this kind of position. But probably Carlsen was going for win or for counter-attack, and rook to c3 was played, but now very nice move by Caruana. Knight to d7. Yes, what happens if we take this knight? Now this knight can take, I mean knight on f4 can take knight here, and now we have threatened this check, and the rook is lost, and also this rook is hanging, so that would be not the best move. Actually computer suggests rook c1 in this position, but now Carlsen really hugely blundered. He took the pawn on b3, and now Caruana finds really beautiful move. You can pause the video, I'll give you a couple of seconds. Yes, here the best move is to take knight on d5, and after knight takes, only one move wins, and this one is rook to e5. And now this knight lacks squares, right? Let's say if a rook defends it's like this, then we can take a knight, and after rook takes, we have this beautiful check on f6, and we pick up a rook, and white is a full piece up. So actually in this position, Carlsen played knight to c3, but now knight to f6 was the final move after which Carlsen resigned. Let's see how game could continue. If king goes to h8, now we have simple rook to e7, and this would be checkmate. I think it's called Arabic checkmate or something like that. If king goes here to g7, now we have this check, and if king goes here, now we have check, king g5, and this would be checkmate. So what else? If king goes, let's say after knight to f6 on f8, now we can take here. So, and even in some lines, I think computers suggest playing d5, and this pawn is very dangerous and could be promoting. So actually, yes, after this move, knight to f6, Carlsen resigned. So very nice game by Fabi. He leads by 3 points. One win is worth 3 points. And guys, thanks for watching. As always, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye.